Hello, good evening, everyone. Let me welcome us so specially to tonight's edition of Through It All with Color Olubodi. I trust that we are good. The Lord will always be our strength in the name of the Lord Jesus. If you are joining Through It All for the first time, I welcome you. Through It All, it's all about giving people hope. It's all about encouraging people. It's all about letting people know that there is nothing impossible for God. If the Lord has done it for some other people, He can do it for them also. So it's all about using our stories to encourage others. It's all about using our stories to give other people hope. All right. So, and the name of the book of the program was derived from my book, sorry. And the title of my book is Through It All. And that's a memoir of my many trials and triumph. I've been through it all, through disability, through rejections, through he that finds a wife. That some of us needed to use satellites to be looking for a wife all over the place, and then found a very lovely one. And another trial came. We could not have our child until 7 years. The doctor said it's impossible. The doctor I met last said it's impossible for me to impregnate any woman in life. And I said, never. I said, I'm sorry, never. That the Lord did what He alone can do. 7 years after our marriage, we had our first son, and we thought everything was okay. Now let's have the second child 2 years after. And then we started counting the years again until we counted another 7 years. And then we had our daughter. So 14 years to have the two children. And then it was when we were seeking for the second child that I went back to hospital. And the results for the first child, it was oligospermia. For the second child, it was azoospermia. That means zero sperm count. All right. So whether it's 0 or 1 or nothing or whatever, what God cannot do does not exist. All right. So I shared my story in the book. If you're interested, you can always get a copy of Through It All. You can get it on tia.com.ng. That's the site. Or Flutterwave store. Just search for Through It All. And if you're outside the country, you can go on Amazon, search for Through It All by Kolo Olubodi, because there are quite a number of Through It Alls on Amazon. Just search the one by Kolo Olubodi, and I'm so sure you'll be blessed, you'll be inspired, and you will find hope and courage to face any challenge that is staring you in the face. All right, so welcome to Through It All tonight. The scripture that came to my heart for tonight is 1 Samuel chapter 2. 1 Samuel chapter 2, I will read verses, let me read from 7. I'll read verses 7 and 8. It says, He made some people poor and others rich. He humbles some and makes others rich. Great. He lifts the poor from the dust and raises the needy from their misery. He makes them companion of princes and puts them in places of honor. All right, that is talking about what God can do. He is the one, he says, I'm the one that kill. I'm also the one that makes alive. And the Bible says, who are you to question God? Who are you to say, you potter, I don't like what you are doing with me as a clay. The Bible says he's the one that lifts up the poor from the dust and raises the needy from misery. So if you are someone poor, if you are in misery, things seems not to be going your way, what you need is not to keep cursing your father or your mother. That's not the solution. Stop cursing the day you were giving birth to, like what's his name, like Job. Instead, turn unto the Lord that says is the one that lifts up the poor from the dust. Cry to him to lift you up from the dust. Cry to him to raise you up as somebody that is needy from your misery, from your unfortunate situation. And then the Lord will do it for you. And he's the one that makes you turn your story around from someone struggling and downtrodden, and it will make you a companion of princes, and it will put you in places of honor. All right, so God will lift you up. He will place you in the place of honor. He's the only one that can do it. He's the only one that did it for me, and he will do it for you also if you will put your trust in him. My story was not like this, but the Lord that changes time and season did it. And interestingly, that was what he did for our guest for tonight. Our guest tonight is a pastor and a professional accountant. So, Bro Femi, nice to see you tonight.
Yes, sir.
Don't know whether to
My
call
pleasure,
you
sir.
a pastor or reverend. All right. So nice to have you here tonight. Sorry,
Yes, sir.
something is echoing. I'm not sure whether it's on my side or your side. All right, but it's so nice to have you here tonight. I really appreciate your accepting my offer to appear on Through It All tonight. I noticed you when I made a post on Instagram, and then you started making your comments and said, wow, I can relate to this. This is how my life was. And I said, yeah, you need to come share that your story with us. And tonight is the night. You're welcome, my brother.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
All right. Okay, so let's start through it all. I know you've encountered my story here and there. Do you want to share one or two things you know about my Through It All story?
Yes, sir. All right, sir. Good evening, Pastor and Mr. Afolabi. So many things about you. I can relate with them very well. And when I have not really had the opportunity to read the whole book, but when you began to share them on Facebook and on other platforms, I had a lot of interest in them. So I have read almost everything shared. And
Wow.
I can tell you for sure that the book has really blessed me personally. And most especially if you are able to connect with somebody's story, it makes more sense to you. Spiritual part, physical part, academic part. Coincidentally, you went to Ife, I went to Ife.
Great,
You
great
are a
effect.
Christian. Great, great, sir. So yeah, so many things about you. I touch the same path with you, so I can understand very well. Now about through it all, the book itself, I would say the area of rejection, and then one scenario you painted in the story, you said because of the physical challenge you have, one of the legs not working very well. There was a time you went to probably is Christmas holiday in the village or something with your people, siblings, and all that. And the masquerade was supposed to come out and display for people to see. And usually, children will play with the masquerade and all that. At the point, the masquerade was chasing everybody and they ran, and you also wanted to run. Unfortunately, the physical disability affected you. You fell, and everything was. You looked around, nobody to help, and you were left alone. And being alone is something that at a point in the life of everybody, we're going to face. There will be times that you need to take some decisions. Even if you are twins, you have a twin brother or sister, you will need to make that decision alone. I've heard, and through what God has helped me to do with people and all that, I've seen scenarios where sickness can make somebody to be alone. And you will need just God and only God to help you in that kind of situation.
So true.
I've seen also from the family side issues like that, that maybe one of the family members will be sick and if you take only God, you might do all that you can do as a person, but you take only God to help that person in that kind of situation. So through it all is a book that I think everybody needs to read it. And we can always understand when we hear some things or read in the Bible, but what a testimony of a person can do can be more than 10,000 messages that somebody can preach. When you say, like somebody always say, I think, let me call him a friend. He says it a lot. He will say, if you meet a Malam, an Hausa person, and you want to sell medicine to the person, to the Hausa man, he will ask you first, has it happened to you before? Have you this medicine you want to sell to me? Have you suffered the same sickness like me? Did you use this tablet or this medicine, and did it work for you? If all your answers, if you tick all the boxes and say yes, it happened to me in 2015, I used this medicine, I got cured of this disease, they will say, okay, sell it to me. But if the person actually say no, they told me, you say no, I won't buy, because you are not telling me what you have experienced, and they always say experience is the best teacher. So you've seen it from even when you started BCI. I followed you. There was time that this star invited you to talk to the congregants, and you were talking about how you started BCI, and everybody told you it's not possible to start background check in Nigeria, in Africa. Today, you are giving lectures even in the North America, telling people about background check. And somehow your company has even you've run a check on me before. I joined the company and they needed to do background check on me. And lo and behold, it was this year that my house there was in Ogun State. They went as far back as Ogun State to go and check, does he live here? Because I was living on the island, but I built a house in Ogun State, like the border of Lagos and Ogun. So they went there to check, does he live there? Is this his house? So you are doing a very fantastic job. So both professionally and the spiritual part, you have crossed my path.
Wow.
I think, did you attend ECU in Ife, sir?
Yes, I was in ECU.
ECU, so I attended ECU too. And I think I've seen Folu Jagulu or some, I've seen a name
Oh,
like
okay. So if you know Folu, then
I
you are proper
it was
ECU.
my senior, he was one of the 35 then. I think he was a year or two ahead of me in Ife, yes.
Wow, I
And
never
he was
even
a great
asked.
man of God. Folu was
Wow.
very, very great. He was in evangelism team. Very, very fantastic man. Brilliant. So
Nice.
we've crossed each other on many parts. So through it all is a book I recommend to everybody to read, and it will be a blessing for anyone who reads it with an open mind to learn and see how God can divinely help somebody from all challenges and issues of life that the person might be going through. It's a very, very good book. Somehow I also have written books too, and I've written like
we'll talk about those books later.
But that's not
so I never knew you have my dossier so much. All right. Okay. So now, thank you so much for all the wonderful things you've said, and thank you for following me all this while. I never knew until God said that our paths should meet. And I know we all have stories. We all have gone through it all. So it's your night to share your through it all story with us, Bro Femi. Like I always say, let's take it from Genesis. and let's see how far we can go. Maybe we will get to Revelation, Revelations, at least, if at all, let's get to James or Peter. All right. So let's go to your story, bro Femi.
Okay, sir. So from the Genesis, let me put it this way. My parents are from Osun State, and we're from Iwo, Olukwana in Iwo, Osun State. And I lost my father very early. My father died as early as 1981. And so if you remove 1981, that's 42 years ago. If you remove that from my age, you know, that must be very, very long time for me. I was very, very young. And so because of that, we moved to Ibadan, that's Oyo State. And I did all my primitive, the younger part of my life in Ibadan, primary, secondary, then I went to school in Ife. For whatever reason, that loss and other things affected me. It was it's very serious case for me, very, very serious. I think I'm getting emotional. So, and that affected me a lot. But at the point, my mom picked up and she was doing her business very well. She was selling palm oil and other things, and she was doing very well. And the challenge came again in 1988, and she was terribly sick. Such sickness that affected that she couldn't do anything for almost a year. So she started recuperating. And this time, I think I was in primary school. And as at that time, because my elder brother was about 5, 6 years older, he was already in secondary school. So they were a gap of almost like you are in primary one, this one is in primary 6 or GS1. This one is already in SS3, you are in GS1, that kind of gap between us. So I became suddenly the one that must do all the errands in the house. And at that point, we needed somebody that will be doing something that will bring in money. My big brother was, I think, was already in SS2 or SS3. He was hustling on his own to bring some things for the family, but what he was doing was more of like, let me put it, executive and the blue collar. So he was doing the executive, and somebody must be doing the blue collar job, the rough work in the house. And so the little thing we could do then was to sell in the neighborhood, sell around the suburb of Ibadan. That's after you go to Akwata, you go to Omiadio and all those places. So as early as I think 1989, when my mom could do one or two things, I had to wake up as early as 5. Then she would get ready, do pap, that's ogi and all that. I'll need to sell around. So when you show the what's it called, the video of that young boy that will go to the school, go late, and the teacher or the principal will beat the boy terribly. The boy will not even argue, will not say anything, and that was recurring. That was my story. I used to go very late to school, not very late, because 5:30 I must go out to sell. Then you return to 8, and you will have thought like 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers, moving around, selling to people as early as that, so as to make small money. This was me that I think as at 1985, I was already going to school with 20 kobo. My brother was going with 30 kobo when my mom was having money. And I remember a neighbor used to say that she was spoiling us. But now, when about 4 or 5 years after, I could not go with 10 kobo again, and the money had devalued. You remember structure adjustment program that Babangida did. So the money there had even lost value. So I should have been taking bigger money to school, but we couldn't. And sometimes you eat without me, so many things like that. So I will need to sell around for like 2.5 hours, return to the house and dress up and go to school. And I think it was primary six, and they wanted to make senior prefects. Obviously, I was, as at that time, the most brilliant in my set. But one of the teachers said it openly that my class teacher wanted me to be. One of the teachers, a woman of blessed memory now, said, no, this boy cannot be, because he comes late to school. It's obvious, you can see that, though he's brilliant, but it takes more than brilliance to be the senior prefect, which was true.
So true.
You must lead by your character. There are some behavioral things expected of you that will ginger and encourage other students to be like you dress properly and all that. But this guy does not have that, so you can't put him in this position because he comes late and other things. And so I think I was given labor prefect because they could not deny the fact that I was brilliant, but I lost the position because of that. And on the day of common entrance, when all the pupils were already dressed up, they packed their things, drove them to school where we're going to write, I had to sell, because we don't sell, we don't eat. So I moved around, I sold, I returned, only for me to rush quickly to where I would write the exam. That school is called United Christian Secondary School. So where I was living that time, it would be like 4 kilometers, the distance. And if you're going to move from that place, okay, I don't want to be giving that description now, very far. I moved from that place, I trekked to the place, all the pupils already settled with the ID card and everything. In those days, ID card, you put your passport, you staple it and all that, or you use something to gum it together. So only for me to get to the center where I would write the exam, and everybody was bringing their own ID card out. I didn't take my own ID card. And they said, no, you need to quickly rush back. So I trekked back for another 4 kilometers or more to the house. On getting there, my mom, though she wasn't fully okay, she had left, she had picked the ID card, everything, to look for me with my big brother. I got back to the house, I didn't see my ID card. This thing is playing like a food drama. What happened? Like I'm watching a video now. I started crying. Where's my ID card? So I will not write common entrance, I will fail and repeat class. Meanwhile, I lost 2 years earlier because of sickness too. 1984, 85 thing, I wasn't fine. I had cold, serious cold, so I could not be registered in school. So now that I was supposed to write too, I started crying. So my mom, my brother, both of them came, they saw me crying. They said they've been to the school and they told them that, so they gave me, I had to rush again. By the time I got back to school, some people had already finished their own exam. It was math and English in those days. So they just, I entered, till today, I can't remember I passed the exam because I was not settled emotionally, psychologically. Every part of me was not settled. Wow. But God had His way, I passed, and that continued for a long time. I couldn't remember. Now I can't remember when I stopped hawking, probably SS1 or something, or JS3 or so. It took me a long time to do that. But you know, God is a very, very good God.
Yes.
While you are going through phases in life of different things, He will always leave something for you to thank Him for. You always see God in every action. Maybe the near death scenario that you will see the hand of God. Maybe when it seems nothing was available and there will be a provision from nowhere. So hope was alive. Despite all these things we went through, the hope was still there that everything will be all right. And I would say the major turning point was after I gained admission or something. And even the beginning of admission was a very funny scenario. Before that time, I've always been thinking that, okay, just go to Polytechnic and do 1 or 2 things and you'll be fine. And I didn't even know, sometimes information Though I was very brilliant, I was very, very brilliant. I remember I represented our school. I was a senior prefect in secondary school. We had, there was a national program then, I think in Nigeria, that the president, the Abacha, all the states had to organize leadership training for people. So we did that one at Ajoda Newton in Ibadan. And among everybody there, I did very well. So I had to be the speaker when the commissioner of education came to Ajoda Newton for all the senior prefects. So I was doing very well, but sometimes your mentality need to align with your capacity, physical capacity.
So true.
I still didn't know that somebody can be in secondary school preparing for WAEC, you can write JAMB immediately because everybody that are written JAMB around me failed. So I didn't know that you could write JAMB from like SS3, then you prepare to go to university the following year. I thought you must graduate, then you now sit for JAMB separately, like you must be out of school because all of them were adults and only the rich around us then, very few people had that privilege and that understanding. Wow. So I finished and I wrote poly jam. And before you even write the poly jam, I had to work. So after secondary school, immediately I finished secondary school, I had to go and look for a job to make money. Even how I wrote my SSC itself was a miracle. As a senior prefect, I could not pay for my WAEC, my SSC then. And so it was 3,500, 2,000 for the exam, 500 for first time, second time, and third time. Now the 1,500, which was the school fee, was not available. Let alone I will now pay for the exam. So I left school as a senior prefect. I left the school. I stopped going to school because the shame will be too much when people will be writing and I will not write. So one day, one of the ladies in the school, my friend, she was older, like I think about 3-4 years. We used to call her Sister Mary. So she said she couldn't see me in school. And so she came to our house to say, what happened to you? And I said, why will I become this when I know I will not write the exam, WAEC and all that? So she said, is it that bad? I said, it's very bad. There's not. She said, even to pay for first time only. I said, nothing. So she said she has saved some money. So she gave me 2,000 naira for the exam. She said that was all she has, that she would talk to her elder brother. That one was a lecturer in Ife, that a young lecturer. So that whatever will happen, she will settle herself. So immediately I got that, I told my elder brother, and I said, this is an opportunity for us. Let's quickly go to the principal's house and see what we can just table our story and see what will happen. So my elder brother followed me to the principal's house. We didn't even go to school. And the principal said, wow, that she has been looking for me. That's what happened to me. That I'm like the shining star among these people. Why did I leave school? I explained everything to her. She said that the 1,500 for the school fee is given to me already. I should not bother. I should just pay this one. So that was how I wrote my SSCA, and I had the best result. Not fantastic result, but I had the best result among people then. So long story short, I wrote PCA the following year. The admission didn't click because Police Ibadan was on strike, which was my school. So I had to prepare for IGMB the following year again. IGMB were looking for money. So I was told they had already sent all the documents to Suleja. That was 2 years after school. The third year, as I was coming back from the IGMB stuff that didn't work, so I bought UME form and all that. So I prepared for UME. That was how eventually I entered IFE with my only UME I wrote, and it was a success and got to control. And so that was the beginning of my major successes in life. That admission made me to see people, how people reason differently. Like it's possible. That sense of possibility started coming. you could get to any level in life and all that. It really helped me in that line. And you know, in the university, all of you are almost equal, apart from the fact some people will have money and all that, but you get to see life in a different dimension and from different angle. And luckily, God also sent a help to me. Somebody just said, you'll be giving me money monthly. And he started giving me 4,000 then from my part two or something every month. And that was consistent until I graduated. And so it was all that God just held me. And so through it all, I could see God's hands too. God has always been there for me, helping me, and he's always like that. And about my Christian life, I started early. Let me put it that way. You know, when you don't have anything, it's God you have. So, and my mom was a very, very good prayer warrior. Oh, if I don't know any Christian, I know my mom. She's one. Maybe Pastor Adeboye too, because I've followed him, and now I've known you, another pastor that I've known. But I knew her early. You know, when you see pure Christian, nothing mixed up, nothing added, just prayer and holy living. That was my mom. So, though, you know, as children, sometimes you might want to play ball, don't want to, but she'll still make sure she directs us. She will make sure that she leads us to God. And that was what helped, even when she was no more with us. She's alive. But what I meant when we went to school and all that, that kind of, you know, where you are coming from, you know, that kind of a thing really helped me throughout my journey and all that. And I think, I don't know if you have specific questions to ask me now, but that was the beginning of everything and the turning point.
Now, what I will ask, thank you for sharing those things. Thank you for being vulnerable.
Yes.
I just want to know your heart disposition from primary school to secondary school, struggling to get 3,500 for school fees and WAEC. What was your heart disposition? What were the things going on? What was like your thoughts process like then?
All right. So I had a lot of things, but the major ones, let me just put them in three, like a kind of tripod. A man that is already on the floor does not fear any fall anymore. I didn't even know some things were possible at the point. As in, it was very bad, like worst of all the worst. It can't be worse than what it was. So I didn't know some things could be achieved. Now, when it started getting better through exposure, you know, when I started reading wide, secondary school, read books, now some struggles were already forming in my mind of possibilities. I'd already known that you could get to some levels. What was now missing at that point was the how, the process, the how to navigate the journey to that height. Like the one I mentioned about, I didn't know it was possible for you in SS3 while you were preparing for maybe WAEC. You just, after your WAEC, you prepare for your JAM, and I didn't know it was even possible to do that. So in my mind, I thought you must finish school, stay in the house for a year or two, then you now say, I want to write JAM. So when some of the people we finished together were saying they wanted to write JAM, I was saying, won't you wait 1 year? They said, for what now? So the thought process was so, and I like some of the big writers have said that a poor person is not that person that doesn't really have money in his pocket or something. It is that person that has a positive of idea in his mind. That is the real poor person. So I was poor that time, not necessarily because of the poverty around me, but it had already affected me mentally that I didn't know some things were possible. And that was why, like, the first book I wrote, let me just mention, is I call it Unlocking the D Code. Like, there are some words, unlocking the letter D codes. Like all these words that start with D, like determination, decision. There are so many of them like that. So many of the things that could have helped me, I didn't know them. And so there was a warped mentality, a wrong mindset, poverty mentality, and all that already affecting me. But thank God, light came through the scriptures and the admission I gained. And so I met new set of people. So people from ISI, people from military school, Kaduna, people from different areas, different backgrounds. So when they were talking, I began to see possibilities. Then I discovered that I was even better than most of them. I was far better than most of them. So we could be in the class and I will be the one explaining this to this person. I was like, but you people went to the best of the best schools. Why from the suburb? Why am I here explaining to this person? And even when I gained admission, I lost a month or so. I think a month or two, because I didn't know that my admission had even clicked. I didn't know how to follow admission up. So many things missed. And so when I just got the handout, not really handout, photocopies of documents and all their notes, I quickly understood. No, the further match we done before, that was what we were doing the first semester. So I could cope, and I was surprised. Also, this university, so I can even do better than some people. And so the grit came, the confidence came, the boldness came, and I began to do things very well. And that was where I would say the change and my thought process now had the kind of right navigation, positive highway. But before then, it wasn't right. The only thing I thank God for was I didn't decide to do something negative, even when things were not right. That because I knew God.
That's very important, because that's where many young guys always veer off the right path, and then they go into nefarious activities.
Exactly.
So what kept you from not going that way? You could have taken to stealing or something.
Yeah, you are right, sir. Because in the 90s, 96, 97, 98, some boys around us, then they would say they were guys that, and what they were doing, they would say they were doing deals. Deals then was like they were stealing. They would go and rob their, maybe father of this person that has money. They would go and take money out of it. But God helped me. I met Christ. I grew up in a Christian home, but my own meeting cry was around 96. And I got baptized that 96, but no evidence of speaking in tongues was 98. I was hearing a song from somewhere, like a church close to where I was staying, and God helped me in that time. So what helped me then was a combination of that salvation, also knowing where I was coming from. I don't think I could have that heart to say I would go and steal. In fact, they will not tell me. They will not tell me. Like those days, no boys, they would say they wanted to try cigarette. All those things, I didn't try it at all in my life. That, okay, let's just strike a match and try it. There are some things I have never tried in my life till today. Because, where will I start from? That kind of thing. So,
thank God for you.
so I didn't bother to do some of those things, all the cigarette and all the thing, and all those, and some of them could not get their way back. Some of those boys, I could remember one of them that there were this guy, this set of policemen, is it SARS then too, that came around and killed one of those boys because he went for real robbery. Evil, like sin is like a projection that continues to have high trajectory. So you might start from a very low level, but later on you will graduate. Some people will tell you, you are still a baby. And because they don't want to be in that baby level, they will try something more. So those guys, one of them they came around and they killed one of them. The older brother escaped. One of them that was my friend, in fact, we're staying in the same house that time. I don't think he has bounced back till now. They started trying Indian hymns, I'm very brilliant, so much brilliant that right from when we were in SS2, it was challenging our seniors that were writing SSC that time, and they knew he was brilliant, very brilliant boy. We were classmates, we were around the same age group. I think it was like a year older, but he didn't have that. Maybe he didn't allow the grace to work in him, and till today I don't even know because he could not succeed in anything. But God helped me. Fear of God, fear of where I was coming from, the salvation that came early and all that, all those things really guided me through the process. And we thank God we might not be there yet, but we thank God for where we are now.
Amen. Thank God for his grace in your life. You know, when some people find themselves on a very bad path, what they do is to join another bad path to try to take care of the bad path they are in. And they just keep going down and down the drain. But thank God for your life. Now, before you take your story from graduating, because somebody was giving you 4,000 every month till you graduated. So when you graduated, what happened? But before you take you from that point, I'm interested in your book. The coding.
Unlocking the D code.
Okay, unlocking the D codes. So what are those Ds? Don't let us go into details, but what are the Ds you have discovered? How many Ds?
Okay. Just a minute.
All right.
Because when I was moving to Canada, I brought, I think, about 5 pieces of the book, and this is me at the back.
You blurred your camera.
Oh, you won't see it clearly. Okay. The background is blurred. So, and so basically, I just highlighted some of the things that I believe when they are combined should be able to help people. And the intention was basically, let me say, the light came from my personal experience. All these things we discussed and how it worked out for me. But unlike you, the elderly, that you can write a memoir, write stuff like that, you can't be writing something like that. I wrote the book when I was, I think, 40, like 4 years ago, thereabout. So it's too early to be writing stuff like that. But what I can say, I have about 8 Ds here.
Okay.
They are popular things. Discovery, like you have asked me, like, one of the things, at what point did you? So the discovery.
So the first one is discovery.
Discovery, like self-discovery, personal discovery about things around you and all that. And until you discovered some things, nobody can even explain some things to you. It starts to be personal and all that. Even salvation is personal. You might tell 2 people same story, and one just like the twos by the side of Jesus Christ. One was seeing Jesus more than just a person. The other was seeing somebody like him, was seeing his mate. So discovery. Then I moved to divinity, talking about God, things that have to do with
divinity. No, you can just mention them so that.
Yeah, divinity, dream, desire, diligence, decision, determination, and discipline.
Dream, desire,
diligence.
Okay,
diligence. Okay. To be diligent. Yeah. Decision. Determination. And discipline.
Okay.
Yes. So that was the first book I wrote.
And that's a very powerful book, because these are the 8 Ds that I think anyone that wants to go far in life must actually encounter. Exactly. And then be able to move on. I was so interested in knowing the 8 Ds. That's why I went back to it. And
you have them already, sir. You have the 8 Ds already.
All right. There are some younger ones coming that I don't even know that there are some things you need to unlock. All right. So
Yes,
we
sir.
need to unlock these 8 Ds: discovery, divinity, dreams, desires, diligence, decision, determination, and very,
Discipline.
very key, discipline. You have all the rest, discipline is not in place, you won't go
Yes.
far. All right, thank you. And one of my friends responded to you that I'm not too old yet. And yes, I'm not too old. At least I'm not 60 yet, so I'm not old. All right.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. So how did your journey, how did it go from university? I know you are presently in Canada. So let's take the journey from university, um, your career path. Tell us about marriage. I'm always interested in marriage
Okay.
as I talk to youth, and then so let's go.
All right. So now, when you cross a particular hurdle in life, another hurdle will just surface. So after university, I had upper, and that's another story. I will have had first class, but I didn't have first class eventually. I had upper. So with upper, you are fine. And in our sets, like 3 sets to our sets, companies will always come around to say, we are from so this thing. You write the test, they'll pick you from school. And during NYSC, almost all the banks, big banks then, they were already picking some of us.
So you studied
Zenith Bank.
accounting.
I studied accounting, yeah. I was the
Okay.
president of NOASA in my set.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so it was a very good one. So now this is another challenge I had. I became a bit overconfident because as at that time I'd already started having meetings with big people. As the president of NOASA, like captains of companies, I'll write them this, and they'll call me to their offices and say, okay, Femi, what do you want? Like, okay, would you like to work with us when you finish? Because I was mentioning it. And like 2, 3 of them said, no problem. I don't want to be mentioning names, but it was a very good one. So I didn't see all this serving with banks as a good thing. I didn't know that I was playing with trouble. I was playing with trouble. Promise is not as important as what you have had in your hand. You don't rely so much on except promises of God. If it's not of God, if it's human, you need to think twice. So I became overconfident. So fine, I I went to serve in Benue, and some of our friends then, some of them served in Zenith Bank, some served in Oceanic Bank and the Intercontinental Bank. All those banks then started taking people. And in my mind, I wanted to do ICANN while I was serving. So I didn't really see all those ones as like, so I determined I went back to Ibadan from Benue, from Makodi, went back to do ICANN lectures at a place called Excel in Mokola. And it was a good one. But all of a sudden, they called me back in Benue that why did I leave my place of primary assignment? I was serving with Nigerian Police Force at the police command. So I went back. So somehow that plan got scuttled. I couldn't write the ICANN I needed to, plus other reasons. And I couldn't write. And so I said I do NIM of the thing. And now I didn't serve with banks. I should have. The opportunity I had and other companies relying on promises. And I also lost the ICANN I wanted to write. And so by around the time we were going to finish our NYC, February, it was February 14 we finished. The pastor of the parish where I worshipped, it was a Redeemed church too. That was my first time in Redeemed church, and I wasn't a member of Redeemed until that time. So the pastor showed interest in me too because I was consistent. So he came to my room one day and said, Brother Femi, would you like to work in Access Bank? Access Bank was a small bank then. They were just coming back. They were just growing. So, but Access Bank had standard. The standard then was they could only take 5 universities in Nigeria. When they were, I think they were doing merger with other banks as at that time. So just 5 banks, 5 universities, Ife, Ibadan, I think UNN and University of Lagos and one other university. We were told, and those were the schools that could apply. So I went to Abuja from Makurdi to go and write the test. I passed. You must score 50 and above. Every other person was asked to go home. So we were just few. And the interview was a small thing. Luckily for me, I met somebody from Ife who was to interview me. So instead of him to interview me in anything, he was asking me about Ife. I know Jingo. We used to call a lecturer Jingo. Then he was teaching philosophy. I said I knew Jingo. So we laughed and all that. He passed me. He said they will
come. Dr. Fashino.
Yes, sir. Dr. Fashino. So will call me that somebody will call me from head office that I've passed. I will start working with them after my NYSC. So I started having hope also after, because it was a quarter to that time. It was there I started realizing that I've missed an opportunity, but God came also. Then I wrote, I think UBA, I passed. I think I was second best in that one. And options started coming again. But suddenly, after NYSC, Access Bank called me twice. I missed the call. I called them back. They said they wanted to call me to join them for training, but I've missed this. That I should go and write another test. But you have my record. I passed. I didn't. They said no, that was part of the test. That why would they call me twice? I didn't pick. It means I wasn't ready for this thing. Long story short, I wrote another one. I passed again. They needed 30 people. People that passed were 28. So I was supposed to be part of it. Only for them to say I was not in the age group again. I was older than the age they needed. So I missed that one too. And for like almost 1 year after graduating, I wasn't working. And people that were not even as good as you in school, they were already working, nothing tight, dressing well, looking good. They look far better. But we see things like that. God doesn't really see things like that.
Exactly.
So I decided to write my icon. So I wrote, then we used to do PE2 and PE3. So I do PE2. I went to write in Abeokuta from Ibadan. I passed PE2. I wrote PE3, which was the final stage. And suddenly, for the first time in my life, I didn't pass everything. And that was another thing that was a special experience for me. I think we should be teaching children the place of failure in life. Not that they will be failing, but it's not everything you desire that you will get at a point. So, as at that time, I'd already gotten a letter to discuss with a woman at EY, S&Young, for one of the big 4 accounting firms. So I went to the office in Victoria Island. She said, since you have 2-1 and you've written ICANN final exam, that she can take me now, but I won't start at, I think, associate level or something. That she would like me to start well. That we should wait for the final result to come out, then I will resume. Another hope. Only for the result to come, and I just passed 2 or 4 papers. I passed 2. I had what we call marginal failure in 2. And the shock was too much for me because I'd not failed over time from primary school, like real failure. I might not get the mark I would want, but I was skilled, I would do very well. So this was the first time I would see failure. And they will ask me, did you pass? Because how many people were passing? So they will ask you, did you pass? Is your name out? That shock alone. It pained me so much that even the next diet that I should write, I couldn't write it. I was still in the shell. I was still in pain that I failed in the set that I wrote. Then all of a sudden, I was in the office. I was already working that time. with Food Concept PLC. And we were many in the accounting department because Food Concept is big. Is the owner of Chicken Republic and the rest. So in the head office, we had many people in the accounting department. And while I was there, I was working late into the night, and one of my senior colleagues then was just moving, and I saw that I was checking my result. And this time around, I wrote 2 papers. I passed one, I failed one again. So while I was now downcast, I was in pain. So he saw me. He said, Femi, what happened to you? I said, ICANN result just came. He said, you are writing ICANN? I said, yes. He said, you didn't tell anybody? I said, I don't need to tell anybody. He said, final. I said, yes. Because in the old department where we had about 60 accountants, because stores too will have accountants, and in the head office we had about 20 or thereabout, only about 5 of them were chartered. Wow. So he didn't see me coming because I was brought from inventory department, inventory section to that place. So he didn't see me that I was writing final. I said, yes. He said, wow. You didn't say anything. I said, yeah. He said, you even failed just one paper. That failure to me was a big problem, but to him, it was a success. He said you had marginal failure. That is 1 star. Bad failure is 2 stars. So if you had 1 star, it means you score maybe up to 48 or 47 and you didn't get up to 50. So he said, Femi, you are very brilliant. He said, this marginal, because he was lecturing in one of the centers, ICANN centers, he said, this thing means that you didn't have enough time to read. He said, what I will advise is just pick a lecture center where you can have maybe 1 weekend to just weekend, like in a month or 2, you prepare with them. That will help you to gather yourself again, remember something you've forgotten, and you will pass. He said, don't read on your own alone. That our work here is stressful already. You might not be able to. That makes me to know the place of mentoring. You know, when you have a mentor, you don't know what you are gaining. You are saving money, saving time, saving so many things because they are telling you things that they paid money to gain. Exactly. So when he told me that, my brain just opened that this is true. I can easily pay. So I registered with a center, risk-free. They just started. I joined them, and that was how. And when I was doing this paper, it was like I was joking and like I was playing, like you were just practicing. I just did the exam easily, and that was how I got qualified. And that was another success that now helped me in my career path. And I started changing job, heading department of finance and all that, and I grew. So professionally, my journey was a funny one, and we thank God for where we are today.
We thank God. All right, so we're already running out of time. So so let's talk marriage.
Okay.
And then how did you get to where you are now? Then the last thing is for you to, of course, I know what you're saying today. It's really going to be relevant for our youth. You understand? They need to learn these things. Some of them also had failed, and they felt that once you fail, that is the end of the world. And because some of us had failed severally, I've come to understand that failure is not as wrong as we see it. Failure is still part of the path to success. Exactly. As I'm going on a journey from here to Abuja, so to speak, and I'm driving, and I miss the road. Missing the road does not make me, is it because even living in Lagos, I still ask for some roads because you just, Google will even throw you away. You understand? So failure is you just missing the road. All you need to do is, you have missed it, reverse, and then you reverse, face the right path, and you get to where you are going. But I know parents will almost kill some children when they fail. So everybody sees failure as not, as if it's not a good thing. Yes, it's not good, yet it's not bad, because if you don't fail at times, the day you will fail, So big will be the fall. You understand? All right. So let's take it from, so when you left the Chicken Republic thing, take us the journey, marriage, where you are now, and then help me to counsel our youth.
Okay, sir.
Those still struggling to gain admission, those are in school that things are not really working out very well for. Let me tell them about what their future is going to be like.
All right, sir. So, yeah, from when I started working, because of, although I was poor, because I had the grace of being brilliant and leading in different capacity from childhood. Like I'll always be the one leading group, leading assembly in school, leading in church, my group age. I didn't really have problem having women around me. But when you don't want to get married, you don't know that it's difficult to choose until you are ready to say, I want to choose somebody for marriage. At that point, it takes grace of God to know who to marry. And so that's another thing entirely. So let me just cut the whole story short. Finally, when I decided to marry, and because I was a product of many issues and challenges, so I had to balance my brain. Okay, when should you marry? So I concluded that I must have started working before I will marry, before I will even say I want to be in a relationship. That might not be the teaching for some people. That might not be cast in stone for everybody, but that was my belief. That I've seen a lot of things. Like, do I want to be poor again? Do I want to suffer? Do I want the children to go through what I went through? So all this relationship like that wasn't really my thing fully until I started working. Then so when I decided to say, okay, God, who should I marry? It was there and I knew it will take a process before you say, this is the person I can marry. But long story short, so when I was doing the ICANN thing, because I even started MBA in Ife around the same time, we used to go for MBA executive in Ife weekends. But I went for a lecture one day, and so a colleague of mine, I can't remember her name anymore now because she joined late, told me of a program in a church called Cape Stone in Yaba, that they wanted to do a program for youth and the singles and all that. So it was a very, very beautiful program by a woman called Fumi Johnson. She was a pastor. So
she has been on this program. She was there like 2-3 weeks ago.
Fumi Johnson, oh, that was the program where I met my wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I went there not primarily to be in relationship, but to honor the woman that gave me the invite, because she was calling me. I have not seen you. Where are you? And all that. So because she was pestering me, I said, let me go. So I left the lecture. After we finished, I went straight to Yaba. And so we were there. The program, I didn't even finish the program because I was going back to Isolo where I was staying. And the program was at Yaba. And it was already late in the night. So as I was going, a sister was going to, she slipped, her feet slipped on the staircase. She wanted to fall. So other sisters there helped her, and all of us say, sorry, take care of yourself and all that. So I was going in the front. I'd already gone far, and so somebody was coming behind me. And this is my truth. God ministered to me and said, the person coming behind is your wife. I've not even seen. It's your wife. Okay. So I now slowed down a bit, only for this sister to pass. It was the sister that was about to fall on the staircase the earlier time, and I passed her, and she was. So now the struggle was, how will I meet her? How will I talk to this person I didn't even know at all? And so Finally, I'd already crossed the road. You know Yaba very well. I'd already crossed to where I will cross to the railway. And she was to go the other side. I couldn't go. So I walked back. And she was looking for, I think, bike or something to take her to, she was leaving her to Gudu that time. So I walked back and I said, sorry, good evening, sister. She said, good evening, sir. And I don't know whether she put her. She said, she greeted me back. So, and I said, sorry, were you in the program at Scapeson? She said, yes, that's where she was coming from. That I said, please, I know you are rushing. Please, can you give me your number? She looked at me. Later, she said, okay. So she gave me a number, and that's how we became friends. We started talking. And finally, we got married. So that's how I met my wife.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
So God speaks to people.
Yes, sir. I'm a living witness.
Wow. Even someone God deliberately wanted her to sleep so that
Exactly.
something will make you to look at that direction.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Because there's no way you would have said, so which of them, Wow. All right.
So about my counsel to the youth about life, I have so many because my ministry has always been around the youth. Like I mentioned when we discussed, I read that I had the opportunity of being the provincial youth pastor of Lagos Pro 64 of RCCG for about 4 years, and God really helped us. And so mentoring people, and I have so many people who were like, I would say they were my mentees. I think one or two, I've seen one or two even here. Now, there's nothing that is cast in stone for that I will say, but I can tell them that in life, apart from the fact that after salvation now, so salvation is like the first thing, like the foundation. After foundation, there are some truths about life that they must discover early. Like the one I mentioned, that managing rejection, managing failure. If somebody does not know how to manage rejection, that can even dismantle the life entirely. It's not everything that your eye pops out for that you will have. And that is why we must learn how to undo life. Number one, let me come from the angle of how you must even see the life itself. We must probably see the life from the perspective of God. God, when he sees challenges, he knows there are challenges, he knows there are problems, he knows there are issues. For example, Genesis chapter 1 in verse 2. The entire cosmos was void, it was without shape. God saw it. God saw this is the problem. He accepted that this is a challenge. Then he spoke into the situation. He started the formation of the creation of that he wanted. What God wanted, he started working towards it. So in life, all of us will have that issue. We might come across things that will almost pull us down, push us away, just like God faced it in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. What we should do is to now come as gods also, because the Bible calls us gods. Psalm 82, I think verse 15 or something, says, you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High God. So if God calls us gods, so we must see things from the angle of God. So what you don't like, you work towards changing it. I don't want this. Then what you desire, you begin to work towards it. The Bible tells us that when each of the creation of God, God saw that it was good. It was good. It was good. So after working on something, God still reveals. So when you check it again, do you see from the angle of God, is it what you want? If it's good, then it's fine. On the seas he made man, the Bible says, and God saw that it's very good, because God brought what he wanted. So the same thing with youth. If you want that admission, it has not come. Don't stop. Continue to work towards it. And I always say people should learn to add value to themselves. I started my career slowly. My salary, first salary was very poor, 30,000. Then I moved to 60,000. Then I moved to 100,000. Then I moved to 150,000. Then I moved to 500,000. Then I moved to 1 point something million. So if I had stopped at the point of, okay, let me just do what is available, maybe I will still be collecting 60,000 today or maybe 100,000. But I began to add value to myself. As the value was increasing, my salary too was changing. There was some job I could not do again. I was saying, no, I can have MBA now. Why would I collect this? So value was increasing. I was learning new skills. I was learning how to present, how to do. So people should learn how to add value. Whatever you want to do, learn skills around that thing. And finally, learn how to bring solutions to issues. There will always be problems, and there will always be something that you can do. And that is the shortcut to success, to being great. So if there was no Zoom and there was no all these e-conferencing platforms, when we had COVID, everything will have become shut down.
So true.
But because some people created, they were proactive, they snowballed ahead of others. They had created things that will make something like this to happen. You are in Nigeria, I'm in Canada, we are doing program, people are watching us without being in a sitting room or a meeting room. These are people who have created solutions for problems that could come. So if all of us will be great the way we want it, we should also be proactive that way, begin to bring solutions to issues of life, challenges of life. God will help us in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you so much, Bro Femi.
Yes,
Somewhere in my heart, so a question is saying, so where is mommy now?
she went to work. I'm in the house now. I came back early because they're on break. They have what they call spring break here.
Okay.
And I'm at home and she went to work. And so sometimes here you need
Your
to
mom,
flip
I'm saying,
something.
not your wife.
Oh, my mom is in Ibadan.
Oh, okay.
She
Okay.
has a house in Ibadan where she stays.
It's Nigerians that always call, okay, we Christians. I want me then.
Christians call her his mom.
Okay. So it's your mom I'm trying to,
She's in
um,
Ibadan, yeah.
all right. And I know the story has changed from how it was.
Oh, wow. My mom is fine now. She went to Israel, which year? Like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
She's
they are so in tears.
sharing with joy,
We
carrying their
always
shoes in their hands.
enjoy. Thank God. I pray that will be the story of every mother that is here and that we get to watch this video in Jesus' name. Thank you so much, Bro Femi.
Yes,
Even though I some of the things are things I know, but then I'm still taking some things out of this meeting, and I know that others also would have gleaned from what you have shared. And I think my takeaway are these 8 Ds: self-discovery, divination, relationship with God. What's your dream in life? Don't just go through life hanging. What's your dream? Where are you going? Have you asked God, so what do you want to do with my life? Why am I here? Some of the experiences some of us are going through or you've been through, they are part of the things that God has used or wants to use or is still using to shape you to be able to fit into the dream, the purpose, the future he has for you. So instead of you crying and screaming, why me? You better settle down and go through the class very well, because the time of your showing will come. But if you don't even know that God is preparing you for something, you will not even be ready. All right. So your dream, have desires. What's your desire in life? Have an hunger, have that passion. Keep telling yourself, I will get there, I will make it, I will achieve it. Then diligence, that's hard work. You put in all this grit, all the effort into it. To every hard work, there is profit. That's what the Bible says. then your decisions in life, let God be involved. Then determination. Some of us know what they call determination. And the last one is discipline. All right. Thank you so much, Bro Femi. Where can we get your book? Is it on Amazon? Is it on in any store? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm muted. Sorry. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, at the point it was on Amazon, but I used somebody else's platform.
Oh, okay.
It was one, in fact, all the 5 books that I've written, this is the only one that is paper bagged. Others I did them in soft copies, but only for the person to tell me that he had a problem, everything is gone, I will need to create again and all that. So for now, I would say it's not on any other platforms other than the paper bagged that I did, and only few copies because at the relocating the location time, a lot of things, you just move some things to some places. But I think Bro Charles, there's a brother on this platform that I think should have 1 or 2 copies if people are interested.
Okay. If you still have the soft copies, we can
Yes,
talk
I do.
after now.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah, we'll see how we still make do with those ones before the Amazon one is ready.
All right, sir.
Thank you so
Yes,
much, Bro Femi. We really
my
appreciate
pleasure, sir.
your time with us. It's really been a very, inspiring time, and the Lord never leaves any of us in our troubles. Says, I'm one of his proteges. All right. Thank God for that. We came from the same area, and he has always been our pathfinder. I am a chartered accountant today with degree from Femi Afolabi University because of him. And I am on his call because I saw his status and he will be having a presentation tonight. Okay, so Kayode, thank you for sharing that testimony. That is still talking about the importance of you having a mentor. I've been waiting to hear how Pastor Femi became an accountant. This is inspiring. Thank you for sharing selflessly. And we thank God for his infinite mercies upon the life of our brother. Please, can he kindly inform us of any challenges he encountered before his wife accepted his proposal? Wow. You can write that, or maybe you say it in 30 seconds. Any challenge?
No, I didn't have a challenge with her accepting at all.
Okay.
It was because we started as friends, and that's why somebody you don't want to eat, you don't smell it. So because we became close friends, when I popped the question, it was, in fact, she was already praying for her husband before I came, so I was prayer being answered for her, so it was easy.
All right, that's a good one. All right, so I hope that person had gotten that answer. So if you got any challenge, if sister has said no, no does not mean it is over. Maybe you went too soon, like me. Just wait, keep praying, keep being friends, and wait for God to say, go again. And then you will see it, the story changing. That was how it happened to me. All right. Rafemi, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you honoring this invitation. God bless you so much. Okay, BC Agunsoye, that's one of my classmates in secondary school. BC, thank you for joining tonight. He's in UK. Thank you. Victor Odunsi, thank you. Everybody, thank you. Thank you. I can't thank every one of you enough. I really appreciate you all. Pray it all happens every Thursday. Join me again next Thursday. Just use the link, that bit.ly link, TIA, what is it now? just follow that link and you will always be a part of True It All on Thursday. I'll be bringing another guest next Thursday. If you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, share it with others. People need to learn from other people's stories and know that it's not over, because if God is on their side, it will not let them fall. They will take them to the highest heaven. All right. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate you all. If you have questions, if you're going through any issue, freely get in touch with me and we will discuss. And you heard him talk about Jesus, and you are wondering, can I ever be born again also? Jesus Christ came for every one of us. He died for the sin of the whole world. So all you just need to do is to say, Lord Jesus, I surrender my life unto you tonight. Come into my life, be my Lord, be my master, be my owner. Teach me how to live this life, and believe it that he has come into your life, and your life will never be the same. I never thought I would be who I am today. But thank God for God. In spite of how I was growing up, the Lord changed my life. He's going to do the same to you, and it's as he has done for Bro Femi. So God bless you, everyone. Enjoy your night, and let's meet again next Thursday. Bro Femi, my regards to everyone over there in Canada. When we come over, we'll check on you also. All right. So bye-bye, everyone. We appreciate you. Bye.